Super Monkey Ball, the game that is laboriously hard and where you throw monkeys around stages that just make no sense. Super Monkey Ball was conceived when the game company had a restructuring and split its development teams into 9 separate studios, which were all led by their own most experienced game designers. One of those 9 studios, Amusement Vision, was led by a young Japanese dude named Toshihiro Nagoshi, who is also well known for the Yakuza series of games. Nagoshi was asked by the then CEO of Sega at the time why games were so damn expensive to make, and Nagoshi basically said, so he whipped together a game that only needed a lever to control it. This resulted in this arcade game, Monkey Ball, which came out in 2001. Can I just say I wish I could find this cabinet? I love that banana stick controller. While the game didn't sell that great in its native country of Japan, it actually became a big hit overseas, so Sega decided to release a heavily upgraded port to the Nintendo GameCube called Super Monkey Ball in the same year as a launch title. The GameCube will get its own video from me, by the way, just wait. So, how does Super Monkey Ball work? You play as one of 4 characters, Ai, Mimi, Baby and Gongon. They don't have stats unlike certain later entries into the series, it's just personal preference. Oh, by the way, Gongon was not in the original arcade version. I like to imagine someone on the dev team at Amusement Vision said to Nagoshi, "We need one more character to make the roster even." And Nagoshi came back with Big Boy. I still think he was a cool character to add, but anyway, back to the game itself. The game has 3 difficulties, beginner, advanced and expert. Beginner is obviously the easiest in the game. I mean, the first stage literally has you holding straight and you win. But I actually think this is really smart. It perfectly showcases how dead simple the controls of Super Monkey Ball really are. Like I said earlier, this game only uses the GameCube controller's analog stick to tilt the whole stage. It also shows how you can move perfectly straight if you need to, because the control stick has an octagonal housing around it instead of being circular like most other controllers. Nintendo, you're so great at innovating with controllers. The game may seem too simple at the start, but what really makes it tick is taking this simple control scheme and design and expanding it to 11 million %. I mean, just look at some of the late stages in this game. Look at this behemoth! But again, it works because the controls are simple yet pinpoint precise. That's actually a good time to segue into the next thing I want to talk about, the difficulty curve. It's pretty good. Even some of the late stages in beginner may be tougher on your first romp, but you eventually get better without even noticing. The stages introduce hazards slowly as you progress, such as bumpers, holes, skinny walkways, bumpers, slopes, bumpers, and they help with easing you into harder stages as you play, and show that you need to get good with the octagonal nub. There is also a practice mode, so you can get better at those hard stages so you don't bleed lives and continues as much. There are also alternate goals in some stages where if you really know how the game's physics work, then you can pull off some swag strats and skip a few stages. Basically just warp zones, let's be honest, but still cool. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that you have a very limited number of lives, so you need to be careful if you're taking shortcuts to clear stages faster. Thankfully, you can get 1 extra life by collecting bananas scattered all over the stage. Yeah, the next thing I'm going to talk about, the doll bananas. They really sold out to doll, huh? Maybe it helped doll out since they were struggling a little in the early 2000s? The bananas are all over a stage and collecting 100 nets you 1 extra life. Of course you can skip collecting them, but then Ai and his friends will probably starve to death since they probably only eat bananas. So that's basically the gameplay of Super Monkey Ball. Very simple but expanded beyond belief. Now, what will I talk about next? The soundtrack. The soundtrack for this game is amazing. Now, I'm no music expert, but the soundtrack is mostly made up of synths, and it just somehow fits perfectly with a game about monkeys being rolled around at the speed of sound. I'll just play some tracks from the game that I like the most, personally. Beautiful soundtrack, and it screams 2001 to me. Also, still on the topic of sound, this game features an announcer. Ready? Go! The voice is provided by an anonymous person. We don't know who he is. Oh, we do know after all. The announcer is voiced by Brian Matt, who did an amazing job at providing an enthusiastic voice to keep the game always fun to play. Yes, I know the video Nick Robinson made where he literally tracked Brian Matt down and brought his work to everyone's attention. You're awesome, Nick. Congrats for doing that. But all this talk I just talked is not the only thing Super Monkey Ball has to offer. If you want to bring the family together, then you head over to those party games. There are 3 party games to pick from: Monkey Race, Monkey Fight, and Monkey Target. I'll play Monkey Race first. Oh my god, that was such a shambling mess of a game. Oh. So why am I saying that? Monkey Race sounds amazing. Well, all is not as it seems. There are 6 tracks to play on, and they all seem fun at first glance. Look, this one is in the shape of Amusement Vision's logo. Call it self-promotion, but I think that's neat. However, the controls of Monkey Race, oh my god. What the fuck did they do to the controls? They are incredibly stiff, and I was never able to make sharp turns at all. It also doesn't help that there are items you can obtain on the track, like Mario Kart. But they make it even harder, to the point where I unplugged my GameCube and put it in the bin calmly. The items make you speed up, which is just great. There's one that makes you slip on a banana, which is great. There's one that blows up the goddamn players and just sends them off the track, which is great. There's one that turns a player's ball polygonal, which is great. And an ice cube, which makes a player slip, which is shit. Monkey Race is just meh overall. It can be fun with friends, but playing it solo is just pain. Monkey Fight is the second game, and oh boy, this is an improvement, and a big improvement at that. In this one, the monkeys now have boxing glove fists. They all punch each other while obtaining items to bump them off the arena more easily. Also, for some reason you can punch the camera if you win at the end. Now, Monkey Target. This one is masterful. This one I've had the most fun with. You roll your monkey down a steep slope and launch them up high into the air. Press the A button to take flight, and now the hardest part comes, landing on the targets. You want to aim for the target that has the highest score, but they are very tiny to land on. Thankfully, unlike future Monkey Ball games that had this party game, the physics in this first implementation are pretty spot on, and landing on the targets is not too hard, once you get good. There are items that you can get from the Wheel of Danger. Ooh. Look, it's nearly Halloween at the time of scripting this, so I just had to throw that in. Pretty much all the items from it are just there to make the whole thing harder, whether that be spamming mines in the air, or making the targets less visible with fog. Overall, Monkey Target is an excellent game that they just couldn't seem to get right in future games. So, you think that's it? Well, tough shit, there's more. There are also 3 unlockable mini games. Honestly, these are quite fun too. The first of the 3 is Monkey Billiards, and it's good enough for me. Not much to say with this one, it's a game of billiards with monkeys. The music is very chill. It's good. Moving on. Monkey Bowling is probably my personal favourite of the mini games. It is a little weird the way it works though. You have to stop the moving aim at the right time, and then you can put a spin on the bowling ball if your aim was off. But other than that, it's a fun little time. And Monkey Golf. I mean, it's golf but with monkeys. And really weird physics once again. But hey, I guess the physics sort of make the mini games and even some of the party games for that matter fun in their own way. There are also some neat other quirks in this game. The interactive credits minigame is pretty sick, but Jesus Christ, the letters mean business in messing you up. It seemed like there are quite a few GameCube games that had playable credit sequences. I'm looking at you, Melee. You also insert the letters of your name like this. Since this was a port of an arcade game, it still mostly functions like one, with it having leaderboards, like you'd see in an arcade. And that is what I like to call Super Monkey Ball on the Nintendo GameCube. Honestly, it's still a fantastic game that still holds up really well visually, sound-wise and gameplay-wise in 2024. And yes, I'll be making videos on the many sequels as well in the future, so don't worry. Also, fun fact for anyone who watches more than a minute, thank you, but also I scripted this whole video at college because I'm crazy. Okay, peace.